Hello and welcome to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name's Hannah, and on this channel I talk about all things interiors, bit of fashion, bit of vlog stuff, bit of everything really. But today we are specifically going to be focusing on how to upgrade your interiors simply by hiding things that you might have in your home that you aren't realizing are compromising your interiors in some way. So if that sounds like you, keep listening, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to hide things and how it's going to instantly improve your interior design in your home and your just overall aesthetic. Okay, so item number one that I think you should be hiding in your home is cables and cords. These are like a silent killer when it comes to interiors, and they can be kind of tricky to hide, and they're just an eyesore. You know, when you see someone's like desk setup or TV console and all you can see is this like jumbly fucked up nest of cords underneath it. This is definitely one thing that I think you need to hide if you want to improve your interiors. So luckily, thanks to modern creations, there are many things you can do to hide cords. You can get cable cord boxes which allow you to sort of run the cords through a box so that you can conceal them. You can get wall mounted cable ties where you can pin the cables in like a clip on the wall so it elevates them off the ground. Or you could consider for certain objects like phones and laptops and things, you can get the sort of desk mounted chargers where you can just sit your phone on top, as opposed to having a cord. I am looking forward to the day that we actually don't have cords attached to things because they are such an eyesore. And as an interior designer, it just, whenever I see that, even if the rest of your home is really like clean and organized, it's setting you back because it's such an eyesore and it makes it feel a bit, obviously it's an unintentional thing and sometimes we can't avoid having cords out. But another thing you can do is even try and disguise cords by putting things in front of, maybe in areas where you can't necessarily hide them. Maybe you can put like a pot plant in front, you can do a stack of books, try to conceal them as much as possible if you want to kind of elevate your style a little bit more in your home. Okay, number two, I'm going to say is tissue boxes and remotes, whether that's like TV remotes, air conditioning remotes, whatever other remotes there are. I think these things are pretty mundane and pretty ugly, and I am yet to see a tissue box that I like and a remote that I like, and I think they just feel cheap and like they're not something that you need to have on display. Obviously with tissue boxes you can get pretty nice covers for them, but if you're not having a cover on it and you're just gonna leave it as the, you know, they always got those like really ugly colorful like prints on them. I wish they would just not do that. But having those on display, it again kind of cheapens the look of a space, and we want to be intentional with the things that we have on display. So hide your tissue box, whether that's in a cupboard, or buy a nice tissue box cover. I'll put some on the screen so that you can see what I think is a nice tissue box cover. But at the end of the day, I also get that it's practical to have tissues out, but if you can hide it, even if it's like in the pantry or in an easy accessible cupboard, I think that's just going to make a big difference to whatever sort of bench scape that you have the tissues on. And then when it comes to remote, very easy to hide. Stuff it down the side of your couch, put it under something on your coffee table. Again, I just think being intentional with your interiors and not leaving things out that are quite mundane and pretty much just ugly is going to already elevate your interiors. So a simple one to do. All of these are going to be quite simple, but they'll make a big difference. Number three is cleaning supplies. I don't know that a lot of people maybe do leave this stuff out, but I've definitely been in kitchens and bathrooms and things where cleaning supplies have just been sort of like left out on the bench or on the edge of the bath or something. And really, this is like a big ick for me. I'm all for cleaning, but you don't need to have your cleaning products on display. So you don't need to have detergent bottles, like spray and wipe kind of bottles, Windex on display. Obviously just move them to an area that's easily accessible, because I assume it's something that people use quite regularly. So for example, in your kitchen, have it under your sink or have like a designated zone. One thing that I do is I bought like a cleaning bucket. It's kind of like a rectangular bucket just from Bunnings, which is like a local hardware store, that I just designate for my cleaning supplies. Like I just have everything in that box because I use the bucket when cleaning, and then that way I know that everything is in a designated spot and I don't need to leave it out. It's easily accessible. But again, like the packaging of cleaning supplies isn't great, and it's just not something that needs to be on display. It'll also just reduce clutter, and yeah, I would just say put it under your sink if you can, or just leave it in the laundry if you have a laundry. Again, in the bathroom, don't leave it on the edge of the bath. Please just put it away somewhere. Number 4 is an excess of personal products. And this particularly pertains to, I'm going to say, the bathroom and maybe the bedroom, just because we have like open real estate, as in like open shelves and things. If you're lucky to have open shelves, it doesn't mean we need to have everything on display. We don't need to have all our skincare products, all our beauty products on display. Make it a curated shelf of items, and store things away that you don't really need to have on display, that are kind of like, I guess, again, ugly packaging, or that you don't use that much. You can use baskets under the sink. You can get trolleys, different boxes and baskets and things just to conceal them, because again, we want to reduce visual clutter. And I think just having an excess of products on display just can make a space feel really messy. And particularly in a bathroom, it again is such a pet peeve of mine when I walk into a bathroom and there's like a million shampoo bottles like that are half empty, or body wash bottles, or bars of soap. Like, just keep it minimal in there, because we want to keep the bathroom clean. We don't want to have like a buildup of gunk and crap around your products. So just pick the things that you use every day. Like maybe it's a shampoo, a conditioner, a body wash, a scrub, or like a cleanser, and that's all you need to have on display, and ideally elevated off the side of a bath. You can actually get some pretty decent wall shelves. Personally, I like to just go for a chrome one because I think it's just sleek and clean and actually looks kind of nice. Again, if you have multiple products, let's say you have like 3 shampoo bottles of the same product, just decant them into one and then get rid of the rest. Pet supplies. Most of us probably have pets. I live with 2 dogs. They're my mum's dogs. I love them. But pet stuff, again, is gross in my opinion. And I think it can be hard to find nice pet products that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg. Particularly food products and things, try to keep that as concealed as possible. Obviously, we have to compromise. We love our pets. We love living with them. But I just think you don't need to have an excess of pet products on display, whether that's pet food, pet treats, pet toys. I think keep it to like a pet bed if you have that, and maybe a really nice food and water bowl. But I would say similarly to children, don't want to compare pets and children, but obviously there is a lot that comes with that. There are a lot of toys and things, as I mentioned, and products that we use for our pets. And again, I think it's worth having a designated section. Maybe it's in the laundry or somewhere tucked away near the front door, whatever's easily accessible for you and whatever makes sense in your home for your pet products, but have them packed away if possible. So like, as I said, toys, dog leads, food products. Just really don't want to have that on display, because I think that's going to kind of bring your interiors down a little bit. And this video is about bringing your interiors up, improving your interior design style simply by hiding these everyday items. And also, does anyone else hate the smell of kibble? I cannot stand it, which is why I make a conscious effort to make sure that it is packed away in the back of a cupboard somewhere, because I cannot stand the smell of kibble. It stinks. So pet supplies, put it away if you can. The last thing I'm going to suggest that you hide if you want to improve your interiors is an excess of branded products. So I'm not necessarily talking about like niche branded products, which actually can look really nice in a home. I'm talking about things like washing detergent boxes, branded bags, like shopping bags, takeout menus, instruction manuals, boxes that have branding on them. Again, this is just going to make your home feel cluttered. It's going to look cluttered. And to be honest, it's not a nice thing to look at in a home, having like multiple just everyday items that are, it might be like a Woolworths bag or something. Like, we don't really need to be looking at that. So try to create like a drop zone or something in a drawer or a cupboard, a cabinet somewhere that you can put all these things that are actually pretty practical. It's always handy to have some boxes around, some bags that you can use to just take when you go shopping, or if you need to transport things. Of course, these are very useful items, but not something that we need to have on display. So just create a designated zone. It can just be like one shelf in your cupboard or a box that you can stuff all your bags into. Personally, I leave the bags in the back of my car because without a doubt I'll forget them when I go up to the shops. But I don't like having them on display in the home because, again, they're not nice to look at. They're pretty ugly, even though they're practical. Just avoid having an excess of branded products in your home. Anyway, those are all the things that I think you should hide. Obviously, there's probably a lot more that I could talk about and a lot more things that you could hide. But basically, the rule of thumb here is if it's like a generic item that maybe you're using every day and it's not the most attractive thing, try to hide it or conceal it in some way where it's still readily accessible, but that you're not looking at it and it's not clashing with your interiors, because these are just really kind of small, seemingly small details that are actually going to bring your interiors down a little bit. And we want to have curated spaces. We want to have spaces that are really beautiful to look at. And these things are kind of just like throwing a spanner in the works. So if you have any of those things, maybe hide them, maybe leave a comment about other things that maybe I haven't included in the video that you think are worth hiding. But I think you get the gist. So I hope this was helpful and that your interiors look even more beautiful now that you've hidden these things. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in next week's video. Until then, I hope you have a great week and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.